If the end of the world turns out like games told us, we'll do fine. With our scavenging smarts, immunity to zombie plague, and expert gun shootery, we'll have the wasteland bandit free and society back on its feet by Tuesday. Except the actual post-apocalypse will be more like I Am Alive. Cities will be depressing rubble heaps, there'll be no food or water, let alone bullets, and the Great Bullet Famine will hardly matter because a gun is dodgy defense against your feral neighbours when you've never fired one before. I Am Alive is pitched as the antithesis of gaming's post-apocalyptic power fantasy. In fact, Ubisoft Shanghai's Aurélien Palas told us it's definitely the opposite of that, and that I Am Alive is realistic and more mature and different from all the other games we've seen.
Like it or not, the world has changed. If you want to stay alive, you're going to have to adapt.
And so the game lifts its setting and atmosphere from movies, says Palas, more than games. Specifically, the film adaptation of misery travelogue The Road, with a dash of the Book of Eli, which is inferior but has machetes. The protagonist of I Am Alive is less a one-man army and more the beleaguered dad in The Road. Before a set of cataclysmic earthquakes laid everything to waste, he'd never fired a gun. Now, after a year-long cross-country trek, he's back in his hometown, searching for his girlfriend and young daughter, carrying only a bulletless handgun and a climbing harness. His one pre-apocalypse talent is climbing, hence that rope looped over his shoulder. But Monkey Man Nathan Drake, he is not. Stints of climbing are time limited by a regenerating stamina bar which strains while you hang on or clamber around. Further on, you get more mountaineering gadgets like pitons to create temporary rest points on the long climb up a skyscraper, and a grappling hook for swinging around on. The stamina gauge makes climbing sessions short and tense. When it's nearly empty, you can hammer the right trigger to have him overexert himself, but it damages your stamina reserves more permanently, and you have to later restore that lost stamina with food items. Holding right trigger makes him jog, while tapping the trigger makes him sprint, with sprinting also limited by stamina. The upshot is an easily winded protagonist that might frustrate players who'd rather control a superhero, but hey, is consistent with I Am Alive's idea of an everyman's post-disaster scenario. Fights like climbs are short and tense. Our hero is vulnerable and underpowered. With no bullets, you have to bluff your way through confrontations with violent survivors. You can keep unarmed survivors at gunpoint to ward them off, or surrender and let them get close enough for you to attempt the grisly one-button surprise kill with your machete. When you do scavenge a single bullet, you must use it strategically. Look for the mouthiest member of a gang, take him out, and the others will back down. Eventually, he also picks up a bow and arrow. Though his ability to headshot body-armoured thugs with it shakes the illusion of Joe Average's post-apocalyptic adventure, it at least lets you shoot more things, since you can retrieve the arrow from the split skull of a victim. I Am Alive has 10 levels through which you explore the ruins of the city, climb, scavenge and deal with other survivors. It isn't an open world game, but levels aren't completely linear. There are some areas off the beaten track in which you might find survivors who can shed light on what happened to the protagonist's missing family. Checkpoint restarts are nearly as scarce as bullets. After you've spent the few you have, you must restart the whole level when you die, and first aid kits are hard to come by too. At one point in our time with the game, we couldn't save a woman's injured son because we'd already used the single kit we'd found in an hour of play, which made for a pleasing/harrowing moment of helplessness in what in another game might have been a routine fetch quest. So, in I Am Alive, we're looking forward to a post-apocalyptic experience that has you scraping by instead of conquering all.